Namanda, 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 namanda.
No more meetings. No more meetings. No more meetings.
Good morning. Welcome to today's Shotsuki monthly memorial service. My name is Doug Dorr, and I'll be the chairperson today. Reverend Fujimoto will read the names of those who have passed away in the month of March. Those observing the monthly memorial for loved ones, please come forward and offer incense.
Good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu. Okay, so today is our Shotsuki service for the month of March. It's always special to have our Shotsuki service and the families come and encourage other members of their families to come to service with them and to be able to participate. We recognize those people we have lost in our families today in the month of March of any year. And so I think it's always opening for me to see the families come together on the Shotsuki and to see who comes with them and the other members. Remember them as well, remembering people who have been part of our Sangha and participating side by side for a number of years in special occasions. So just yesterday we had a memorial service for Satoko Furuichi, and yesterday we had, if you notice, something different. The offerings on the altar are not the usual apples and oranges, but we have Coca-Cola cans and potato chips, and these are her favorite foods. So we kind of, in her flavor, in her personality, we asked the family, would you like to put something up there that reminds you of your mom? And so I kept them up there. Certainly Satoko was one that's been here for her whole life. And so a lot of our members that maybe were not able to participate yesterday can participate. And when you come up at the end of service or during Shotsuki to remember your family, you can also think of Satoko. Or if you didn't know her, you could think of your love of potato chips. Okay. So these are the Shotsuki names for the month of March. Please come up and oshoko during the reading of the names. Akinaga Teruo, Arai, infant, Baba, Harue, Baba, Helen, Date, Chio, Dylan, Toshie, Dor, Jean, Eves, Ruby. Fukuyama, George. Fukuma, Yone. Fujita, Gonshiro. Furuno, Shigeru. Greenwell, Linda Meyer. Hashimoto, Noriaki. Higake, Hitoko. Higashi, Otomatsu. Hirakawa, Saburo. Hirao, Shichibei. Hitomi, Tomoe. Hiyama, Eikichi. Ishida, Sachiko. Ishikawa, Santaro. Iwahashi, Noboru. Iwahashi, Setsuko. Iwahashi, Shizuko. Kaito, Seijiro. Kakimoto, Misao. Kakimoto, Ochio. Kamiji, infant, Yuzuru. Kawabata, Setsuko. Kawabata, Toshiro. Kawakami, Chiyono. Kitajima, infant, Ruriko. Koga, Saburo. Konishi, Mitsue. Konishi, Toshio. Kono, Tom. Kuge, Teru. Kusama, Asao. Kuano, Asono. Kuano, Denzaburo. Kuano, infant, Ken. Maeda, Rutaro. Masuda, Muneto. Matsui, Kojiro. Matsuo, Hisao. Matsuura, Sachi. Mori, Takeo. Mune, infant, Mitsue. Murakoshi, infant, Shizuo. Naito, Teruko. Nagahisa, Hideno. Nakagawara Hisakazu, Nakamura Infant Mitsuko, Nakano Etsuko, Nakano Kenji, Nakano Infant Masami, Narahara Joan Etsuko, Niizawa Yoshi, Nishi Infant Sadako, Nishi Sadasuke, Nishi Teisuke, Nishiyama Takino, Nomura George Masaki, Nomura Seki, Okamoto Bunjiro, Okamoto Infant Toshio, Okami Jinzaburo, Otsu Yoshino, Sadamune Kata, Sakaguchi Chioe, Suehiro Infant Hidemi Jenna, Shigemoto Joanne, Shiota Shuzo, Soga Sawa, Tabuchi Infant Kaneko, Takagi Kumagoro, Takayama Hiroshi, Tajima Hikoichi, Tateyama Kinzo, Terao Hisashi, Tesh, Matilda, Tsuboi Infant Masaji, Tsuchiya Tadashi, Uchiyama Atsuke, Utsurogi Mamoru Bob, Wada Jun, Wada Yoshie, Yamagami Kichiuemon, Yamashita Matsuzo, Yamashita Takeshi, Yamashita Toshiko, Yamamoto Hatsuno, Yamato Tetsuo, Yanagi Tomi. Yano Tokyo. These are the Shotsuki names for the month of March. If there are additions or corrections, please notify the office. Thank you.
We will now have the Sambujo on pages 24 and 25, followed by the reading of the Hyobyakumon, the purpose of the service.
Yobyakumon. Today, on this occasion of the Shotsuki Service for the month of March, members of our temple families have reverently come before Amida Buddha in memory of their beloved, with deepest reverence and thankfulness for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida. We reaffirm the three homages. Namu Kie Butsu, Namu Kie Ho, Namu Kie So. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Please repeat the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda, Namanda.
Now we will have Sutra chanting Amida Kyo on page 103 in the Purple Book.
シャリン小式小公公式陽公釈式釈公薬式薬公微妙公血シャリ公国羅国土上中尿性空毒小根ウシャリ法義部国土調査見学高校日昼夜六時二分万ならへ報告修上同意書単各位英国教宗教家不要他法十万六仏即に直地言動本国本地教教ジャリ法国羅国土上中尿税空毒将軍仏師シャリ法義国上部修十奇妙雑式市長学国着公部シャリ下領賓が無名市長聖書宗教長や六時水湾平門高門年長高根合力七五大門八正道門行政道法行動修正門税恩に外出念仏念法念僧シャリ法のお月新上出世祭お少々少医者が異部国土無三幕主シャリ法国部国土小無三幕土信用学教無実聖書宗教改正阿弥陀仏力量法温泉流演芸調査シャリ法義部国土未風水道小法59法ラモ水未妙音利用百戦中学同時草門税恩社大事年上念仏年法年相死心シャリ法大部国土上中尿税空毒将軍
Please stand for the Gatha Nembutsu 1 on page 99 in the White Book, and then please remain standing for the reading of the three treasures on page 8 in the Purple Book.
which books, please? Purple book, page 8. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the 3 treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be freed from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in the life of harmony, in the spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teachings. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Please be seated.
Now, Reverend Fujimoto will introduce our guest speaker, Reverend Dr. Kenji Akahoshii.
Yes, today we're very fortunate to have Reverend Dr. Kenji Akahoshii here, going to share some of his thoughts on the Shotsuki tradition that we have in Shin Buddhism. And Dr. Akahoshii is retired minister emeritus now, so you can tell by his gray hair that he is a very wise old man. Very fortunate to have him here, and he is also, his wife is of the Terao family, so by marriage he's married into the history of the Alameda Buddhist Temple. So I've enjoyed being a part of sharing Akahoshii Sensei's time as a minister. He was a member of the San Jose Betsuin, and I got to meet him then when he was there. And then he served for many years at the San Diego Temple, and I was also invited over there to share some words with his members over there. So currently he's doing some speaking engagements at a number of our BCA, Buddhist Churches of America temples, and sharing his thoughts and perspectives on improving, gaining membership and things like this. And so we are very appreciative that has the time to come here. He comes on occasions and during our special events too, just because the family makes him do that. But we're happy to have him here today on his own. So please come up, Sensei.
Thank you, Reverend Dennis. Let's see, I had notes here. Thank you for this invitation to speak here. I want to thank the Reverend Dennis and the Alameda Sangha, and thank you for that nice introduction. Had I known I would have this title of emeritus, I would have retired much earlier. And it is a pleasure to speak here. This is where my father-in-law, as many of you know, was the minister. And so it is quite an honor to be here speaking to you. And especially today, Shotsuki, as you see, my sister-in-law Lenny and Doug come up. we have family members who passed away in this month. And for some people who may be new, we may be wondering, what is this Shotsuki service about? And why does Jodo Shinshu seem to have so many services, memorial services, remembering those who passed? And it may seem like we're focused on death, but actually the opposite is true. All these services are for us who are left, the living. And if we think back in history, at the time of Shinran, they didn't have Sunday services. That's kind of an American tradition due to the Christian influence in America. And so the only time they had services, well, there were apparently services for special occasions, holidays. But basically, when a person died, there was a funeral and many services associated with that, and the many memorial services. Now, this is when we lose someone close to us, we start to think about our lives and realize that things are impermanent. And this is the time when our hearts and our ears are open to really hear truth. And so this is one reason why we have these services. Now, in those days, death was very common. Women died in childbirth, infants and young people died. If you go to some of these old cemeteries here, I know in San Diego we would go to some of these older cemeteries on Memorial Day, and there are small graves because children died early. If there was disease, any kind of injury or violence, death was very common. So this was the concern. What about today? We're not so concerned. I think that if I make it to the hospital, and I've been to the hospital a lot, they've got things that will keep me alive. They keep my heart beating and breathing and so forth. And so our concern, we don't see death that much except on TV. And our concern seems to be more about the quality of life. So the things Shinran and Renyo wrote 500 years ago really were concerned with death and life. And so in those days, things didn't improve for the common person. And so if your grandfather was a peasant, what do you think you'd be doing? And what do you think your grandson would be doing? They'd also be a peasant. Things didn't improve very much. They wouldn't become head foreman peasant. And so if I'm up here, I would tell you life would get better after life. And so we would have these elaborate things that even at the time of the Buddha, they explained things, that there would be this birth in the Pure Land. And much of it was an indication of the afterlife. If you were working in the fields, this would be very nice. Gold glitter, people ask why it looks so elaborate. If you go to Japan now, and the Kodo in Berkeley, our altars now are very simple. And I think it's because our lives are so complicated. We see kind of a pure realm as more simplicity. The home altars they have now are very sleek and modern. So with our complex life, we see an alternative in that a pure realm might be just simple. So there's a difference between time and cultures. And so it's sometimes difficult to know, some of these mythologies and stories that we're told. At the Buddha's time, many things were unknown. So what caused things like earthquakes, tidal waves, volcanoes, people dying of unknown causes? Things were attributed to deities. I mean, this is very common when things were not known. But today, because of science and the advances of our technology and things that we know, things have been revealed to tell us that there are geological things they call some of these things. The human psyche causes many of these things. And so as modern people, we are a little too sophisticated. We think we know everything. And so when we hear things in terms of deities and afterlife, we're kind of skeptical. And there is this thought that, what's religion about? But And so this is where I'll try to give you my impression of what I read and understand of the sutras. At the Buddha's time, things were conveyed in terms of mythology and deities. And yet, how do we interpret that now? Amida Buddha was kind of a symbol of truth. And so I think for now, we're looking at truth as an awakening that we can experience. And so when we hear that the Buddha assures us of birth in the Pure Land, I kind of take that as awakening to a true reality. The Buddha, the term itself means the awakened one. So we awake to what is true and real. And yet, at the Buddha's time, again, if you really wanted to understand, you renounced ordinary life and became a monk. But fortunately for us, 800 years ago, Shinran, who was a monk, with his integrity, said he couldn't understand this. Although he practiced, he could not contain his passions. And reading the sutras, he realized through his teacher Honen that there was another path that the Buddha talked about. And it's come down to us as Jodo Shinshu or Shin Buddhism. And in his masterwork, Shinran writes this in Kyogyo Shinsho, in the chapter on practice. Solely saying the Tathagata, or the Buddha's name constantly, one should respond with gratitude to the universal vow of great compassion. So, he's saying here, we say this Namo Amida Butsu, but it's not a petition or prayer, it's an expression of gratitude. And so, again, can you join me in Nembutsu, saying the Nembutsu? Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, Gassho Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, thank you. Silently, what did that feel like? Now, for many of us who have been at the temple, that has great depth to it. But for people who are new, and especially younger children, they may not be too sure. Now, can you say these words? Abracadabra. Good. Well, how did you feel? Now, to many people, there's not much difference between Namo Amida Butsu. There's an abracadabra. So what may be needed, and we wonder why people, may drift off from our Dharma school, is that we need to put an experience with this. And as Shinran said, it's an experience of gratitude. So how do we learn anything? We learn it in a gradual process. Just to, I broke my leg last year, and it took me a year to learn how to walk again. Found out balance is very important. I couldn't balance myself standing up. And so a daily practice is important, and we hear that saying the Nembutsu, constantly with gratitude is important. So I've been advocating a practice of realizing that we have been receiving things. And I think this is the distinction Shin Buddhism may have, as opposed to many other forms of methods of awakening in Buddhism and other religions. We are receiving more than we can achieve. And for that we say, thank you. Now this is, I think, a truth. Just think about this. Pick something that you're really proud of, an achievement. Could be in your career, home, school, whatever. Now, you achieved that, and I was proud because I was a dentist and I went to a very good school, and I was proud of that. But later I realized that I had been supported. So who supported you first getting, achieving that? Whether it was a manager or a boss to, allowed you to get that achievement. And then indirectly, who else helped you? Were the people who trained you, coached you? And then if you spread that further, how did you get there? How did you get your education? Did you receive that from teachers, coaches? And how did you get that? Those institutions were created by people. 100 years ago, they didn't have some things like public education. And 100 years from now, we may not have public education with the department being eliminated. But anyway, let me go on. So we can expand this, and we realize we have received so much. And how did we get to the age of 20? By our parents or whoever supported us. So our achievements are great. We put a lot of effort into it, but most of it has been by receiving. And when we receive, we need to acknowledge that by saying, in our mind, thank you. And so again, I advocate that we say thank you all the time. And what is some custom that we have before meals? Itadakimasu. Not only, showing our gratitude toward the food, but the sacrifice of animals and vegetables. The farmers, the people who delivered that, the people who prepared the meat, my wife who cooks that, or the chefs or servers. And so again, this itadakimasu acknowledges this vast array of people's efforts in supporting us. And now, the one thing, as I said, I recommend is throughout the day, you might just make a practice of appreciating opening a door, putting on a light, turning on a water faucet, and just saying thank you, to develop this habit, this practice of gratitude, getting into a car and driving. And I found using this method that many people find that I've been saying, when you see a yellow or red light, what do? Well, we like to slow down and stop. And rather than using selected words, we might say thank you. Thank you for the red light. Why? Because the green light allows people in the other directions to go. So this is harmony. And this is, again, one of the Buddha's instructions that, we live in a dualistic world and we live in a life of interdependence or harmony. And so when you come to a stoplight, just say thank you rather than, got to waste 3 minutes to wait for that light. So again, everything in our life points to this fact of receiving. And what else have we received? I have a poem here by this poet, Mitsuo Aida, and the poem is called Ancestors. My father and mother, altogether 2. Parents of my father and mother, altogether 4. Parents and parents, altogether 8. If I count in this way back to 10 generations, altogether 1,024. What about back to 20 generations? To my surprise, over 1 million people. From infinite past, a life rally baton has passed on. Here now I live with my baton. This is my life. This is your life. And so each of us has been given this life baton. And so our question is, what do we do with it? Now, in the traditional term, we hear that the Buddha, Amida Buddha, symbolizes truth. And we will be saved by saying this Namo Amida Butsu. But for contemporary thinkers, I like to bring us up to date with some of the things we know. And a guy named Einstein said that all things that we have is either mass or energy. Everything has 2 forms, mass and energy. And rather than getting into a physics lecture, Lenny's going to tell my wife, he went into physics. Okay. If you think about a tree limb and you burn it, what do you get? Heat and light, energy. So that mass is converted to heat, energy. Well, how did that get in there? As a seed or fruit that was planted, that tree took in energy, sunlight, water, air, carbon dioxide, nutrients, and so it grew. And that's how energy was converted into mass, just like us as infants. We're tiny little things, and yet we get milk, water, air, and all these things, and we see children grow. As humans, there's something else, and all these things are part of energy that we've received, and here we are as adults. So this is what we've received, and so we're part of this. Now, what's energy? Again, at the Buddha's time, he said truth, energy, the best he could think at those times to explain to people who may not have gone to a physics class. He said light and life, those are forms of energy. And what are those words? The Sanskrit words amitayus, which is life, and Amitabha, light. Those are the two things that are combined for the word Amida, light and life. So again, 2,600 years ago, the Buddha was talking about energy, and that we're part mass and part energy. And we can say body or spirit. And I'm using the words spirit energy or energy spirit. And so this is what we're grateful for. This life energy is what we received from our ancestors. This is our life baton. This is what we pass on. Even if we don't have our own children, as we speak with others, we're sharing it right here. As I share things, I'm not sharing my body parts. I'm sharing, this energy. And so, again, for us sophisticated Americans who think we might be too sophisticated to believe in deities and things, we have this thing called spirit. And this is what we appreciate. And it's here at a Jodo Shinshu temple that we remind us in all the many things we do. When we come to the temple, we burn incense. And what we're saying is, we see that we are part of this impermanence. These granules, solid granules were burned to ash and smoke and fragrance, just like my body will go. But the next thing we do is we experience interdependence. We chant. And as Sensei was saying, we join others. We're here to honor those of us, those people who benefited us in the past. And so we're chanting not only individuals chanting as one, individual voices of tone, volume, so forth, as one, but we're chanting with those. We do that with real experience. And so that's our story now. And this is what we learn. And the next thing we hear is three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Rare, difficult, and wondrous is it to hear the Dharma. Now we hear it. What will we do now? So we have already received it, and our services reinforce that. We are part of this. And so the services we have, the monthly, the annual Obon service, the services we have for the first year, third year, 7th, 13th, and so forth, all remind us that we still have this connection. Do people ever bring flowers to a gravesite or no kotsudo? Yeah, why do we do that? Because there is this connection. It's not just some ritual. We are saying we still connect with this. Do people have these ihai at the home altars, the wooden little things with the name engraved? People may not do that anymore. Some, yeah. But then what do we do now? We have photos. Our modern technology has given us photos which remind us of those who have passed, where in the past they could only do that on these wooden boards. So constantly, Shin Buddhism tells us we are still connected as we live and as we die. And this service, the Shotsuki monthly memorial, is what it's about. And so what Buddhism is about is waking up. And once we wake up, what do? We sing Ondoksa. And that is paying back our gratitude to our teachers. And as I said, this achievements we had, we realized that our teachers are just everyone who has helped us. And what do we do in Jodo Shinshu temples? Serve others. All these fundraisers, we have charities, we help others. We have Dharma school, educational classes. So it's a constant expression of sharing with others because of what we have already received. So that's our story of, this ancient tradition and these rituals that may seem kind of out of date. But in modern language, we are life energy, and we express that every time. And we don't actually just need a statue or the 6 Chinese characters, but we have these words, Namo Amida Butsu. And that assures us that I have received this life energy through no act of my own. It's taken 1 million ancestors. The chances of, it's harder than winning the lotto. We have won the life lotto, and yet we're trying to, go to Vegas and win a little more money. And so for all of us, this is the message of Shin Buddhism, that we common people have this ability to wake up by realizing what we have received. Now, with especially young people, they may not realize the fact that each of us will need to think about this life ending. And it's not so much about life ending, because although there's impermanence, we have this interdependence. And it is the fact that we have received life. And so for all of us, there will be a time when each of us must face this reality of our life ending. And at that time, will we be saying, if we have that ability at the end to know the end is imminent, will we be saying, please, one more month, please, one more week, please, one more day? Or might we be able to say, thank you. Thank you for the last month, thank you for the last week, and thank you for this last day. And so please join me in expressing our deepest appreciation of appreciation by reciting the Nembutsu. Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Amma.
Reverend Akahoshii, for your Dharma message, deeply moving and very well considered. And I won't tell on you that you talked about physics. I won't report you to the authorities, the Dharma police. But thanks again for your wonderful message. We'll now. Everyone, please stand for the Gatha, We Are One, which is in the White Book on pages 150 through 152.
Listen with your heart, listen with your mind to the Buddha's teachings. Namo Amida Butsu, singing Namo Amida Butsu. All the world is bright, singing Namo Amida Butsu. We are one. This is harmony in Amida's land. This is harmony within me. Put our hands together, bow our heads. Thankful to Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu, singing Namo Amida Butsu. All of the world is bright, singing Namo Amida Butsu. We are one. We are one.
I would like to thank all of those who helped with the altar preparations and with the service, especially, of course, Reverend Dennis, and especially helping out with YouTube, Brian, and especially, again, also with the altar flowers, Jane, of course, our organist, Lenny, and all of those who brought refreshments for today's memorial service. Thank you. Are there any newcomers? Anybody new? I don't think so. No, okay. Welcome and to all who did come today. I'd like to make a few announcements about upcoming services. Next Sunday, March 16th, will be the spring Ohigan service. On the Sunday after that, March 23rd, will be the family service, which will also include Ask Reverend Dennis. On that, that's on the 23rd. On March 30th, there will be no service because that's the 5th Sunday of the month, so no service on March 30th. Are there any other announcements? Jane?
Today, after the Sangha time, and we're going to have refreshments in the social hall, Reverend Akahoshii is going to stay, and he's on the BCA Propagation and Membership Committee, and he's going to talk to us about, I don't know, other things that have worked at other temples as far as what's worked, what hasn't worked, about bringing people in for our services. And so the committee's going to be meeting with him, but anybody else who's interested is welcome to join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. And thank you, Reverend Dennis, for staying. Yeah, please stay. It's really great to talk to Sensei, to Reverend Dennis, to Reverend Kenji, and ask him questions afterwards. I hope you'll be able to take advantage of that. Today is, in fact, Birthday Sunday for the month of March. So it's a customary thing. Do you want to say something, Sensei?
Yeah, do we have any birthday people for the month of March?
Yes. Yay. Okay. Yeah. Any others? No? What? Barney? Okay, where's Barney?
Barney, come on, Barney.
Barney.
Barney's got to come up too. Come on.
Come on up, Barney. It's a birthday Sunday.
Yeah, it's not optional. It's mandatory. You know, you have to, if you have a birthday in March, you have to come up. Silver dollars. Make it one by one.
Together. No. We want a noise. We want noise. Accents and they will sing happy birthday. What? Just stay up here.
Yeah, do that. We didn't know we had this in.
Turn around.
Yeah. Listen to the instruction part.
Let's sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Happy birthday to you.